is essential. Things are moving fast, consumers are expecting more from the companies that they're buying from, and employees are expecting more from the companies that they are working for. In such a climate, it's essential for companies to ask themselves, what does growth look like to us? Perhaps growth looks like innovation. It looks like investing in new ideas or new products. Perhaps expansion looks like expanding in terms of targeting a bigger audience, creating new locations. Or perhaps growth simply looks like maximizing your profit by any means necessary. In any case, when we're talking about expansion and growth, the structure of your company is going to greatly impact the scalability of your operations. My name is Divine Ukushaka, and today we will be exploring together the newest multi-branch feature. If you have any questions, please feel free to scan the QR code right here, and we will get to your questions at the end of my talk. So, to repeat what I was saying before, the structure of your company is going to greatly impact the scalability of your operations. You want your structure to be flexible. You want to be able to adapt to any changes, whether they're foreseen or unforeseen. You want your structure, however, to be consistent. You want it to be clear who's in charge of what and how things are being ran inside of your company. Lastly, you don't want to make your structure too complex, as you don't want to stifle your own growth by limiting your possibilities of reorganizing or restructuring. I don't have to tell you this, but having the right tools to assist and support your company structure, again, is going to be essential, and that is the reason why we are here today. So what is this new feature that we are presenting to you today? I already mentioned it. It's the multi-branch feature. Most of you will probably already know about the multi-company feature, which allows you to manage multiple legal entities inside of one database. But sometimes growth doesn't mean that you're going to create new legal entities. It might just mean that you literally want to branch out and create new business units inside of the same company. So this is exactly the feature that we're going to be using in this case. So what does it look like inside of an Odoo database? The multi-branch feature looks like having different document layouts per branch. So it means that you can brand yourself differently to the external world, and you can have document layouts that are different based on the branch that you are operating in. It also looks like customizable access rights. So it means that you can limit or give access to your employees not only on an app level, but also on a branch level. So you could have employees working for one branch without having the information about another branch. And lastly, it looks like consolidated accounting, because again, here we are working inside of one legal entity. So there is one source of legal reporting, and then we will have the branches underneath. So to showcase how this works in an Odoo database, I want to present to you the use case of Handyman. So Handyman is a company that started off with one physical store in which they were selling hardware. So anything from gardening, plumbing, electronics, they were selling it inside of this store. So one thing that they noticed at Handyman is that customers were coming in, buying their tools, but that customers were also coming in asking for advice. So they wanted to know how to renovate their homes, how to repair their tools. And so a light bulb went off in Handyman, and they wondered, is this maybe not a service that we can sell? Why not sell our advice to our customers? And so that's exactly what they did. They created a new branch within the same company to provide these consulting services. So that's how we came up with Handyman Consulting, which is going to be a consulting office in which the employees are going to provide advice about construction costs, renovation, etc. And then lastly, at Handyman, they also have an accounting team that is going to oversee all of these operations and manage the legal requirements in terms of accounting. So what I want to do with you today is to kind of go through a day in the life of the employees working at Handyman. So we're going to go with someone working in the shop, someone working for the consulting service, and lastly, we're going to follow the accountant of Handyman. So I want to jump inside of my Odoo database right here, and I am right now connected as the accountant of the company. I know this because I have access to all of the applications that are being used at Handyman. So I will see the sales application that is used for the consulting services, the point of sales for the physical store, purchase, inventory, accounting, etc. I will also see at my top right here that I am right now operating under Handyman. So if I click it here, I will see that we have a hierarchy here. So we have the Handyman, which is the main company, but we're also going to have the consulting branch and the shop branch. But I want to get to the accountant last. First, I want to jump into another database that is going to be the database for someone working at the shop. Perhaps you've noticed it here. We have way less applications visible on our dashboard. We will only see the applications that pertain to our part of the business. So I can see the point of sale here. I can see the purchase, inventory, etc. So as a shop worker in the morning, when I log into my database, first thing I want to do is manage my inventory levels because I want to make sure that I have enough stock to provide the customers coming into my shop. So I'm going to open the inventory application to find that I have one receipt here to process today. So I'm going to open this receipt, and I can see that my vendor, Masterful Constructor, is going to be delivering 10 outdoor fountains today. So I see the delivery guy coming in. He gives me my products. We have a nice chat about how awful the Belgian weather is. He gives me my fountains, and I validate. So I validated my receipt. Next thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my stock is replenished. So I want to make sure that if there's any goods that I need to replenish, I want to manage it before opening my store in the morning. So I'm going to go into my operations, to my replenishment, and I will find that I have 5 pieces of my garden fabric here that I should reorder this morning. So I'm going to click on order once, and Odoo is going to generate me a purchase order for my garden fabric that I'm buying from Masterful Constructors. So before confirming my purchase order here, I do want to have a quick look at the catalog that I have at this vendor to see if there's maybe other products that I can add to my purchase order here and save on, for example, shipping fees. So I'm going to click my catalog here, and this is going to show me all of the products that I'm purchasing from Masterful Constructors. I do see that I have 16 units of my outdoor fountain, but I want to add some more just in case. So I'm just going to add 3 more items to my purchase order here. This looks good to me, so I'm going to confirm. So one thing, if you're observant, you'll notice here is that my purchase order is not confirmed yet. It has received the status to approve because at Handyman, they have organized their way of working so that the accounting team has to approve and oversee the operations of the shop and the consulting service. So my purchase order here is to approve because my accountant still needs to go over it and approve my purchase here. So that's fine by me. I'm done with managing my inventory. I'm ready to start my day and open my point of sale. I will open my point of sale here, count my cash, and I can see here all of the products that I'm offering at my store. So I have customers coming in. They're going to be buying some products, so I'm going to create a sale here for some sealer, a pipe connector, and a plant watering system. I'm going to register my payment. They are paying by bank, and I'm going to validate. Here, what I want to point your attention to is that, of course, I will have the receipt here that I can print. And this receipt will mention both the name of my branch, which is the shop, and the logo that I have specified for that branch, which we will see later is different from the logo from my consulting services. So I will go ahead and create a new order. This is a customer that comes in. He's already in our database, and it's Golden Gate Constructors. This customer comes in buying an outdoor fountain, some pruning shears, and a shower head. They would like to receive an invoice, so I'm going to register a payment in bank, I'm going to invoice it, and I'm going to validate. So as I'm talking to my customer, which is Golden Gate Constructors, they tell me about all of their plans to renovate, to reorganize their gardens. And so as I'm speaking to them, I notice that there's an opportunity here to sell the consultancy services from my company. Of course, because I'm working in the shop branch, I don't have access to the specific sales done in the consulting services, but at Handyman, they found a handy solution for that, which is to go through the CRM. So I will quickly go into my back end here and go into my CRM application, where I can see how Handyman has chosen to organize their CRM, which is going to be 1 lead for the consulting and 1 lead for the shop in my pipe here. So it means that in this case, I will be able to capture leads from the shop for the consulting services, and I will be able to capture leads from the consulting services for the shop. So I'm going to create a new lead here. I'm going to call it Surefire Sale. I'm going to edit it, and I'm immediately going to assign my consultant, as I know that he will be the one processing this lead. I can add my customer, which is Golden Gate Constructors, and I will add a note here to say they would like a quote for the garden landscape planning. Looks good to me. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go back to doing what I love to do, which is sell my products in the store. So one final sale that I want to record here. I'm going to sell some all-purpose sealant, a compost bin, and an angle finder. I'm going to register my payment, which is by bank. I'm going to validate, and I'm going to be able to close my shop at the end of the day by closing my session here, registering the cash, and closing my session. So this is the end of the day for my shop worker here. He can go home to his wife and kids, have a nice evening together. And second thing I want to show you here is the day in the life of a consultant working for Handyman again. So again, if you're observant, you'll see that the applications that I see here visually are a bit different. So I can see the CRM as this is an application that we're sharing between the branches, but I will see that here the sales are being recorded in the sales application. I will have the field service application because some of the consulting services require me to go on site, accounting, and etc. So first thing I'm going to do when I walk into the office in the morning as a consultant is I'm going to check if I have any interventions to do that day. So I'm going to open my field service application to find my planning. I can see that my next intervention is on the 10th of November, so that's fine. I have time. I can go to the office, grab a coffee, and relax. So what I'll see here as well when I log into my system is that I have a notification here. So I will click open my notification, and I will see that I have been assigned to a new opportunity, which is a surefire sale. Of course, you'll notice that this is the opportunity that was created by my shop worker inside of his Odoo database that has been assigned to me and that I can now manage from my own Odoo database. So I'm going to open this opportunity. I can see here that they would like a quote for garden landscape planning. That's great. I do want to thank my shop worker for his contribution, so I'm just going to tag him and say, thanks so much for this. I'm going to log, and so here, I'm just going to do what the notes say. I'm going to create a new quotation for my garden landscape planning. What I quickly want to point your attention to here is that this is the product catalog for the consulting services, which looks completely different from the product catalog at the shop, because again, here we're selling services, and in the shop we're selling physical products. So I'm going to add my garden landscape planning to my sales order, and I'm going to send it by email. I'm going to send my sales order, my quotation, sorry, to my client. He will see the quotation. He will get back to me if he wants to purchase our landscape planning, yes or no. So after this, I'm ready to start my own day. So I will go into my sales application, and I will register some more quotations. So I'm going to create a new quotation for Heritage Builders, Inc. Again, I'm going to go through my product catalog, and I'm going to add some plumbing consultation. This client wants to buy a plumbing consultation. I'm going to confirm my sales order, and I'm going to create my invoice directly from here and confirm it. All right. Last quotation I want to register here today is going to be a quotation for some services on site. So I'm going to find my customer, which is Aquaflow Builders. I'm going to use the handy dandy product catalog, and I'm going to register a sale of a construction cost estimation service. I can confirm my sales order, and I will see that because this is a service that we are providing on site, a task will automatically have been created inside of my field service. So I'll go to my task. I will assign myself, as right now I'm the only consultant working for Handyman, and I will plan my intervention, which is going to be this weekend from 12 to 1. All right. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to get back to my sales order, and I'm going to create my invoice. Confirm this invoice, and everything looks good. This was my day at the office as a consultant. I can close my laptop, go home, and enjoy a nice evening. So, last database that we're going to be exploring together, of course, this is the one that we started with, is the one from the accountant. So I mentioned it before, the accounting is going to oversee the operations and, of course, manage all of the accounting inside of the Odoo database. So as an accountant, if I log in the morning, I do see that I have a notification here, so I want to check what this is about. And I can see that I have a message from my consultant. You'll see that about 24 hours ago, I asked him why a sales order was not invoiced yet, and he tells me he still needs confirmation about the invoice address. All good for me. I know what this is about, so I will close this notification. So I quickly want to check on my sales and on my purchases. So I'm going to go into my sales application here. I see that everything looks good. My consultant has been selling a lot today. I am going to quickly check if he has invoiced everything that was created today. So I'm going to go to my orders to invoice. I will see that I have one order open here, which is the one that we had the notification on. So it's okay. I know that this will be invoiced shortly. So done checking on the sales. So now I want to go to the purchase side. On the purchase side, of course, you'll see, and I hope you remember that my shop worker created a purchase order this morning because he wanted to buy some garden fabric and an outdoor fountain from Masterful Constructors. It has to go through me because I'm the accountant of the company, so I'm just going to check here if the purchase order looks good, and if it's okay for me, I'm going to approve my order and my purchase order will have been confirmed. So I will receive some products in the shop, my shop worker will be notified, and he will be able to manage the receipts of this purchase. So after having checked on the sales and on the purchase, I can do what I really love to do as an accountant, which is manage the accounting. So I'm going to go into my accounting application, and what I will see here is that I can see all of my journals that I have created for all of my branches. So I have the indication about the branch just next to the journal name, but I have created a handy-dandy filter here for me to easily see the information visually. So here I can see all of my journals grouped by branch. So you'll see here that Handyman has chosen to create a invoices journal for my consulting service and an invoice journal for the shop. They are managing vendor bills at the company level. They don't need to make a split, so they have one vendor bill journal, two banks, one for the consulting service and one for the shop, and other miscellaneous journals here. So I just quickly want to check on the invoices that have been created today. So I'm just going to go to my invoices of my consulting service here. I can see that my consultant has invoiced Aquaflow Builders. I quickly want to check on the invoice here. So I'm just going to send and print. And I want to show you here again visually how here we have an invoice that has been created inside of the consulting services, for which we will have the consulting logo, we will have a tagline that's different, and we will also see the specific address for the consulting services. Going to go into my invoices of the shop, and here I will open one as well to check if everything is okay. And you'll see here again that my invoice is going to look different because this is the shop, and I see the shop logo, I see the shop tagline, and I see the address for the shop. So after having checked on my employees, controlled all of their work, I do want to do some of accounting myself. So I can see that in my consulting journal here, I have 3 items that I need to reconcile. So I'm going to quickly do that. I can see that I have one customer payment for an invoice. Odoo has recognized which invoice it is, and it's suggested it right here, so I can just validate. Here I have some bank fees that I had to pay. I don't need to manually reconcile. I can use my handy-dandy bank fees button here to validate the reconciliation with my interest, commission, and other charges account. Last reconciliation of the day, I can see that I have another customer payment coming in here. Odoo has found the invoice, and I can validate again. So, tough day at the office as the accountant. So after having managed all of my operations, as an accountant, of course, I'm also interested in knowing how my company is doing. How is the profitability for my company looking? So I'm going to go into my reporting, into my profit and loss, to see the profit and loss for my company at Handyman. So I hope you remember from the beginning that we are operating at Handyman level. So it means that anything I'm doing in the accounting right now applies to all of the branches inside of Handyman. So I will see here that I have the profit and loss for Handyman, which means for the consulting branch, as well as for the shop. I will see that I'm doing quite good so far this month. I have about a gross margin of about 5,000 euros. Again, if I want to see the information on a branch level, I can. I can simply switch to consulting service to see what the revenue is, and same thing for the shop if I am interested in seeing the information split by branch. Or I can just go on the company level to see how my company is doing. What I've done also here at Handyman is that they've created a different revenue account for the shop and for the consulting service. So an easy way for me to check on company level how my branches are doing is to check the account for the sales of the consulting service and the sales of the shop. I do see that I have a rounding difference here of 63.64. I want to check what that is about, and I can see that I have a cash difference from the point of sale. So I do want to check what that is about with my shop worker, so I'm quickly going to take a screenshot and send it to him. And I'm going to say, can you make sure to check the cash register correctly? Okay. So after having checked the profit and loss report here, everything looks good. We're doing great. Last thing I want to do as an accountant here is I want to close my tax period. I want to manage my monthly closing. So I'm going to go into my reporting. I'm going to go into my tax report, where here I will find my tax return for Handyman. I can see all of my operations, and I can see that I have my closing entry that I can book just by clicking this button here. Again, I can still access the information per branch if I want to. So I can go to my consulting service if I want to see how they've contributed to my operations here. Same thing for the shop. However, I'm not going to be able to post my closing entry on my branch because, again, the accounting is being managed on company level. So I go back to Handyman here. I can see that my button has reappeared again, and I can close my tax period. So I will post it here, my tax entry, and my period will be closed, and so is my day at the office as the accountant of Handyman company. So what I wanted to show you here with these three different workers working for the same company is that with the multi-branch feature, you're able to diversify your processes per branch and still keep some visibility on company level about how your branches are doing. So the takeaways that I have here for you today is that with the multi-branch feature, you can have visibility in the performance of all of your business units. You have the freedom to diversify, to have completely different processes and different apps used in the different branches, but you will keep a unification of your legal reports when it comes to the accounting. And in this way, you can capture everything inside of one database. So I hope you will see this and you will think that with Odoo, you can create and assure your future in terms of expansion and growth of your company. So thank you for listening to my talk, and I think we can get to the questions. Here's the QR code again, if you want to scan it.
All right. First of all, thanks again for the great presentation and
Thank you.
the good storytelling again. We have some questions that came in during the talk, and people are still typing, so we just jump into it.
Okay.
How does it work if you have multiple companies and multiple branches?
Well, it works like a branch is actually a type of sub-company within your main company. So you have to define on a company level if it has branches or not. So you could have multiple companies with no branches and have a company with branches, and it should work inside of one Odoo database to have one company, or to be in multi-company and multi-branch in one of those companies.
Perfect. And will version 17 support project budget reporting across entities and currencies?
Project management, can you repeat? Sorry.
Project budget reporting across entities and currencies. Because apparently currently Odoo just aggregates across different currencies without converting them. If that makes it
I
clearer.
think it's in terms of the project budget.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a branch question really, but you can have a budget per company. So you could have per branch also a different budget that you want to manage. I do have to say that the currency is going to be picked on a company level. You have to pick the main currency is going to be the currency of the company. So if you have multiple branches inside of one company, the main currency will be the same for the branches operating in that company. I don't know if that answers the question.
Hopefully.
Sorry.
Next question. How does the product catalogs for branches work? Because can a product belong to more than one branch?
The product catalog works in the same way as it does for the multi-company now. So it means that either you populate the field company and then it will belong to one company, but if you leave it open, it will belong to all of your companies. So it works the same for the branches. If you don't assign it to one branch, it will be available in all branches. But as soon as you pick one branch, it will be assigned only to that branch.
And is it also possible if you have 3 branches to have a product for 2 of the 3 branches?
So then you could not have it that way. You have to either give access to all of the branches or only one branch.
Okay, it's one or nothing.
It's one or nothing.
One or all.
No, one or all.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Okay. Can I have a different website per branch with a different product catalog, PDF templates, logos, etc.?
Yeah, indeed. So again, when it comes to the operational processes, the branch is going to work in the same way as a company. So if you could have if you could have different websites per company, you can also have multiple websites per branch. It's only in the accounting that you will have an aggregation of the branches on a company level. So anything in terms of inventory, website, point of sales, you could have a specific point of sale, specific website for your branches.
Okay, maybe just a final question.
Okay.
Is it possible to set different user rights per branch?
Different user rights per branch, yes and no. It's actually you could have access rights, so it means that you give someone access to specific applications, and then you give someone access to a branch or not, which means that you will have access to the information that was created inside of the branch. So you have to specify if someone has access to a branch, and then after that, what applications they have access in within that branch. If that makes sense.
And maybe a final question? I don't know. Can you have different email aliases per branch, per company?
Different email aliases. It depends what kind of email alias. Is it on the journals?
Different email.
If we're talking about the email alias on the journal level, then yes, you could have multiple journals that belong to multiple branches, well, to different branches, and that all have their own email alias.
Okay. And I think we run out of time already a little bit.
Well, if you have any more questions, you can come to the accounting booth, obviously, and we can have a chat.
Okay, perfect. Thanks again for the good presentation.
Thank you.
And I think it's now time for lunch. So enjoy the lunch and enjoy the rest of the day.